All right, folks, welcome back to PrepperNow. I want to talk about some of this financial stuff that's going on. I found an interesting post on a blog, and it kind of encapsulates just how long we have until everything just basically breaks down. And I hate to break it to you, but no matter what we do basically from here, it's just a matter of time. Things are going to financially come undone. And so I love what the one commenter said. He said, oh, this is perfect. This times out right with the UN in 2030. So let's talk first about this downgrade thing and what's going on with it. There's some interesting language in there that I found. And then we're going to parlay it and tag it to this blog post, okay? So, going to be kind of financially wonky and nerdy, but bear with me. We'll have the doom at the end. We got to give you the doom. So, of course, Moody's has cut our rating from AAA to AA1, okay? They said budget deficit, rising costs rolling over existing debt, high interest rates, okay? So their decision was basically lifting yield that investor demand in order to buy U.S. Treasury debt to reflect more risk. People are not buying the Treasuries at quite the rate they were. So when people wonder what was going on also with Mr. Trump going over and wooing the Middle Eastern folks, there's some other things. It's not just about the dollar. It's about people buying our debt, okay, Treasuries. All the major credit agencies continue to give the United States their second highest available rating. So the problem is we have too much debt, too much deficit, and there's not really a clear path to cut it. Now, of course, you and I both know that there's all kinds of things we could do. Let's start with Medicaid and Medicare, and we could have things whipped into shape here pretty good, but of course, that'll take away a voting block for a certain set of people, and nobody wants to do that. So it's not going to happen, and that's a problem. The desire for votes is more intense than the desire to actually clean things up. So the yield on the benchmark 10-year Treasury note climbed 3 basis points, and now you've got a rate of 4.48%. So Treasury rates go up, lending rates go up. And this isn't just a Trump thing. And people go, look at Trump. It's all of them. This goes way back. So they say that successive U.S. administrations and Congress have failed to agree on measures to reverse the trend of large annual fiscal deficits and growing interest costs. And I might remind you that all spending comes from the House. Okay? So much as the folks want to come here and say it depended, it's actually Congress. Okay? That's the way our government functions. Quote, we do not believe that material multi-year reductions in mandatory spending and deficits will result from current fiscal proposals under consideration. And we all know that nothing is going to be changed. They have this big, beautiful bill. Yes, that is Trump's. And the House and Senate are currently working on it. They want to keep tax cuts from 2017 going, but of course that gets referenced as a problem as well. So, as a result, we expect federal deficits to widen, reaching nearly 9% of GDP by 2035. That would be up 6.4% in 2024. So 6.4 in 2024, it'll get to 9% by 2035. So it'll go up a lot. That's mainly because of increased interest payments on debt. We're paying only down the interest. We're not paying the debt itself down too much anymore. We're getting to that point. They say, quote, we anticipate the federal debt burden will rise to about 134% of GDP by 2035 compared to 98% in 2024. All this news, of course, has kicked up interest in gold. Interest rates have gone up. And the negative feedback loop continues. So you're like, oh, well, we need to fix this. What do we do? So this guy had this post. He said, fiscal balance to prevent government spending from draining reserves. This is the way. These are the ways to stop it. Fiscal balance, prevent government spending from draining reserves. Trade balance to prevent private spending from draining reserves. Raise the SLR ratio. I think that's standard lending rate. I can't remember exactly, but he says raise the SLR ratio. Establish a commodity currency capable of retiring debt without reducing M2, or the velocity of money. So you need something backed by gold. Revalue credit dollars versus commodities such at least that 40% of Treasury Fed Reserve ratio can be maintained. London tried to do this in 1919 to 1934 and it failed. No one has ever succeeded in transitioning from fiat currency to commodity currency without a total monetary collapse. So it's basically over. So maybe you need physical things, okay? You picking up what I'm putting down? So the courts are stopping this. Congress is stopping this. No one in Congress has, any, and no one supports raising these SLR rates. A lot of that will bankrupt banks, he's saying. No one has audited the gold in Fort Knox. We don't know if it's still there. And without any audits or anything, there's no way to basically monetize our assets. So we're screwed. So what do you need to know? He puts, first, government borrowing. In fact, all borrowing. All borrowing is a logarithmic function of post-compound interest on existing debt. Banks retain a portion of interest paid to secure future lending. The retention reduces money velocity below the level required to retire old debts. Newer debts must be taken to re-enlarge the velocity of money for solvency to be possible. We are on heroin, and the only way to keep people going is to keep pumping the heroin in. Government is required under federal agreement to borrow more than private debt growth. So you have to keep borrowing. Debt growth on the chart is too smoothly logarithmic to be organic, ergo it is intentional. They spend in order to borrow, not the other way around, he says. He's right. Deviations in debt going all the way back to 1945 in the Bretton Woods system. It only happened in 2008. Slope resumed as a result of QE and zero rates, ergo interruptions to logarithmic debt fatal to the worldwide monetary and financial system. At some point, this will become contagious in everybody, regardless of where you are, what country, what corner of the earth, it will affect you. So he goes and he starts to talk about 2019 and the velocity of money. What's that? That's all the money that's out in the system. If it gets too low or too high, it causes dislocation, which is bad. But he sums it up and says, mathematically, all of this is unrecoverable. And without major structural monetary reform, within 15 years, at which point debt will nearly triple while the velocity of money will double. Without those major reforms, which will not happen, collapse will begin before the end of the decade 2030 as a sovereign debt crisis rapidly becomes a currency crisis. And he summarizes, you have 60 months to get prepared. So there's your doom. All financial jargon aside, the clock is ticking, and there's about 5 years left before everything just craps the bed. Okay? So I just wanted to put that into a video. If you get a chance, go check my other one about the mind control thing. It's you know how I know a video is really important? when they suppress the crap out of it. And that's exactly what's going on. I highly doubt people are looking at that and going, I don't want to watch it. All the important stuff is the stuff that doesn't get watched, or at least on the view count. So go check those out. Go back to my channel and figure that out. Go check out the thing on your food is changing. That one got the same business. They're changing our pork through CRISPR technology. I don't know if you want to eat that, but it's coming. Things are passing and they're about to change pork. They're manipulating us. They're making us, they're making us more malleable to their desires of what they want the society to look like. And what they want this society to look like is not good by any stretch of the imagination. So it's time for you to get to stepping, as Daddy used to say. You now have your time frame. You have your clock, your stopwatch, your time. 60 months, folks. Everything he says makes sense, too. Ask yourself, as you sit here and you want to explain it to everybody else, you just don't know how. Will Congress ever come together and put together a budget that reins in our spending and stops the deficit and the debt from growing? And the answer is no. So there you go. All right, friends, if you like what we're doing here, hit the buttons and stuff, darken out the bell, get the notifications, tell people about the channel if you can, please. I can't even tell you how hard we're getting hit here. So really need all your help you can get. You can join us as a member. That's a great way to do it. Give them a couple bucks. It kind of alleviates things on their end. Or you can join us on Subscribestar on Locals, where we have these big conversations and we put things out there that you can't really put other places. Okay? Links in the description. God bless. We'll see you on the next one.